All right, thanks, guys. Great to see you. Happy Tuesday to you. Let's go ahead and get into some lines and personal leans for Tuesday's Major League Baseball action. And we're going to begin with the Rockies taking on the Nationals. 7:05 Eastern first pitch in Washington. The Nationals are minus 175, totals at 8.5. We did see a nickel move toward the Nats in the early wagering. Once again, the Nats open $1.70 up to 175. Total open and remains at 8.5. 75% are leaning Washington, 61% shaded toward the under. Right now, the Rockies are plus 165 on the money line. Washington plus $1.15 on the run line. We have Peter Lambert for the Rockies, Steven Strasburg for the Nationals. Strasburg's 12-4 with a 3.52 ERA and a 1.09 WHIP. He also has 151 strikeouts and just 127 2/3 innings pitched. Now on the other side for Colorado, Peter Lambert comes into this matchup with a 6.06 ERA and a 1.40 WHIP. Now Colorado is dead last in the NL West, 5 games under 500, just 47.52 overall for the year. They're also 18.5 games back in that division. They lost 6 out of their last 7 ball games. They also rank 25th in striking out on average per game, and they are dead last in Major League Baseball in hits allowed on average per game. Now, Washington on the other side, they are 6th in striking batters out, also 6-4 in their last 10. They're second place in the NL East right now, 52-46 overall for the year. Washington's also 26-20 at home, and they rank 8th in home hits. Now, total-wise, Colorado's 6-3 to the over in their last 9. I'm going to lean Washington minus 175 in the over 8.5 runs in that game. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines of personal leans out for Tuesday's Major League Baseball action. But before we go ahead and move on, just want to quickly remind you about my website, patreon.com/BrockPage. We do daily plays on that site. We have several different memberships and tiers and packages that you can subscribe to, beginning at just $1.99 per month. Once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. The link for that site is in the description section below. And with all that said and done, let's go ahead and move on and get back into some more lines and personal leans. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got the Cardinals taking on the Pirates. 7:05 Eastern first pitch in Pittsburgh. The Pirates are minus 125, totals at 9. We saw a 15-cent move toward Pittsburgh in the early wagering. The Pirates opened $1.10 up to 125, totals at 9. 64% are leaning Cardinals, 66% shaded toward the over. Right now, St. Louis is plus 115 on the money line. Pittsburgh on the other side, plus $1.60 on the run line. We have Dakota Hudson for the Cardinals, Chris Archer for the Pirates. Archer's just 3-6 with a 5.36 ERA and a 1.41 WHIP. Hudson on the other side for the Cardinals is 9-4 with a 3.57 ERA. The Cardinals are second in the NL Central, just 1.5 games back in that division. They also won 5 out of their last 6 ball games. They rank 6th in hits allowed on average per game. Now the Pirates on the other side are 26th in walks allowed, 24th in runs allowed. They've dropped 8 out of their last 10 straight up. They are 4th in the NL Central, 7 games under 500 at just 46-53 overall for the year. Now, total-wise, Pittsburgh is 6-3 to the over in their last 9 at home. Pittsburgh is also 32-15 to the over at PNC Park. So with all that in mind, I'm going to lean toward the road dog in this one. Give me the Cardinals plus 115 in the over 9 runs in that game. Next matchup, Indians, Blue Jays, 7:07 Toronto. The Indians are minus 170, totals at 9. We saw a 20-cent move toward the Indians in the early wagering. Cleveland open 150 up to 170, totals at 9. We have 74% of the consensus on Cleveland, 75% shaded toward the over. Right now, Toronto's plus 155 on the money line. Cleveland minus $1.20 on the run line. That seems like a pretty short shot there. I'm not sure if that's 100% accurate. But anyway, we have Trevor Bauer for the Indians, Aaron Sanchez for the Blue Jays. Sanchez is just 3-14. 3-14 for the Jays. He's got a 6.26 ERA and a 1.75 WHIP. Meanwhile, Trevor Bauer on the other side, 9-7 on the year for the Indians, 3.67 ERA and a 1.18 WHIP. He also has 170 strikeouts in just 144 and one-third innings. Now, Cleveland is second in the AL Central. They're just 3 games back in that division. They are very close in striking distance of Minnesota. They're also 17 games over 500 overall for the year, 58-41 overall. They're also 26-20 away from home. They're on a 7-game winning streak when traveling, 7-0 in their last 7 on the road. Now, Toronto on the other side, no real surprises here. Winners in just 3 out of their last 9. They've also dropped 4 out of their last 5 at home. They are 27.5 games back in the AL East, just 38-64 overall for the year. That's going to put them 26 games under 500. They also rank dead last in hits on average per game. Now, total-wise, Toronto's 4-1 to the under, taking on Cleveland this year. The Indians on the other side, 39-29 to the under, taking on teams averaging more than 4.2 runs per contest. Give me the Cleveland Indians, -170, and the under 9 runs in that game. Next matchup, Boston, Tampa Bay, 7-10 Tampa Bay. The Red Sox are -160, totals at 7.5. Now, we did see movement on both the money line and the total in this one. We saw a nickel move toward Boston and movement downward on the total. The Red Sox open $1.55 up to -160. Total open 8 down to 7.5. 61% are leaning Boston, 72% shaded toward the over. Right now the Rays are +145 on the money line. Boston -$1.05 on the run line. We have Chris Sale for the Red Sox, Yanni Chirinos for the Rays. Chirinos comes into this game with an 8-5 record, 3.29 ERA, and a 1.02 WHIP. Meanwhile, Chris Sale on the other side for Boston, a little bit of a different story. He's just 4-9 on the year with a 4.05 ERA. Now, Tampa Bay is second in the AL East. They are 11 games over 500 at 57.46 overall for the year. They also rank first in Major League Baseball in runs allowed on average per game. They're also third in striking batters out. Now, Boston on the other side, they are 22nd in runs allowed, 20th in walks allowed. They're actually in third place in the AL East. They're behind Tampa Bay, and they are also 10 games back in that division there. Now, total-wise, Boston's 14-6 to the over in their last 20, 32-20 to the over when traveling. The Rays on the other side, 60% to the over at home when the line was 7.5. Give me the Tampa Bay Rays +1.5 and the over 7.5 in that matchup there. Next game, San Diego, New York Mets, 7-10 Flushing, Queens. The Padres are -125 on the road. Totals 8.5. We saw a nickel move toward the Padres and movement upward on the total. San Diego open $1.20 up to -125. Total open 8 up to 8.5. 58% are leaning Padres, 67% shaded toward the over. Right now the Mets are +115 on the money line. San Diego's +135 on the run line. We have Chris Paddock for the Padres, Vargas for the Mets. San Diego's won just 2 out of their last 9. They are 4th in the NL Central, 5 games under 500 at just 47-52 overall. They're also 18.5 games back in that NL West. They rank 27th in hits allowed on the road. Now the Mets on the other side, they rank 10th in hits on average per game. They're also 4th in striking batters out at home. The Mets are 5-3 in their last 8. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean toward the home dog in this one. Give me the Mets +$1.15 and the over 8.5 in that matchup there. Let's take a little coffee break. Oh, that's good stuff. All right, next game. Phillies, Tigers. 7:10 Eastern first pitch in Detroit. The Phillies are -140, totals at 8. Not a whole lot of movement on the money line. Pretty good two-way action there. we did see movement downward on the total. Once again, Phillies minus 140. Total open 8.5 down to 8 flat. 62% are leaning Phillies, 70% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Tigers are plus 130 at home. The Phillies plus $1.15 on the run line. We have Aaron Nola for the Phils, Matt Boyd for the Tigers. Boyd's just 6-8 with a 4.12 ERA. Meanwhile, Nola on the other side for Philadelphia, 8-2 record. He's got that ERA down below the 4 mark. He's actually at a 3.77 ERA right now, which for the majority of the year, that ERA was pretty high. But finally, Nola in the threes. Once again, Nola 8-2 on the year, 3.77 ERA. He also has 138 strikeouts and just 121 2/3 innings pitched. Now, Philadelphia is 7th in offensive walks on average per game. They're also 4-2 in their last 6. The Phils are 52-48 overall for the year. That's going to put them at 7.5 games back in the NL East. They're also 42-25 straight up as the favorite. Now, Detroit, on the other side, fewest wins in Major League Baseball. They're just 30-65 overall for the year. That puts them at 35 games under 500. They're also 29 games back in the AL Central. They are dead last in home scoring on average per game. Now, total-wise, Detroit is, oddly enough, 11-5 to the over in their last 16. So giving up a ton of runs on the defensive side of things. Give me the Phillies minus 140 in the over 8 runs in that matchup there. Next game, Royals, Braves. And that's going to be a 7:20 Eastern first pitch in Atlanta. The Braves are minus 210. Totals at 9. We did see a nickel move toward Atlanta in the early wagering. No movement on the total as of yet. Atlanta opened 205 up to 210. Totals at 9. 73% on the Braves, 68% on the under. The Royals are plus 190 on the money line. Atlanta minus $1.20 on the run line. We have Danny Duffy for the Royals, Dallas Keuchel for the Braves. Keuchel's 3-3 with a 3.58 ERA. Meanwhile, Danny Duffy on the other side for Kansas City, just 4-5 on the year, 4.52 ERA and a 1.39 WHIP. The Royals are 25 games back in the AL Central, just 37-64 overall for the year. They've also won just 15 out of 50 games when traveling. The Braves on the other side, 2nd in home scoring, 4th in home hits. They rank 1st in the NL East. They are 6.5 games ahead of Washington. Now, total-wise, Atlanta's 11-3 to the over following a day off. They're also 23-13 to the over, taking on teams under 460. Meanwhile, the Royals on the other side, 39-28 to the over when the line was 9 or higher. They're also 26-18 to the over, taking on teams over 540. So with all that in mind, I'm going to lean Atlanta minus 1.5 in the over 9 runs in that game. Next matchup, Yankees, Twins, 8:10 Eastern first pitch in Minnesota. The Yankees are minus 120, totals at 10. 70% are leaning Yankees, 71% shaded toward the over. Right now, Minnesota's plus $1.10 on the money line. New York's plus $1.30 on the run line. We have Domingo Germán for the Yankees, Kyle Gibson for the Twins. Gibson comes into this game with a 9-4 record. He also has 106 strikeouts in just 105 1/3 innings. Minnesota's 1st in the AL Central, 61-38 overall for the year. That's going to put them at 23 games over 500. They're also 31-19 at home this year. They are 3rd in Major League Baseball in scoring on average per game. They're also 2nd in hits. The Twins are 22-14 as the underdog. A lot of plus money there, plus units, if you're betting Minnesota as the dog. They're also 13-6 when Gibson makes the start. And they're winning 70% of their ball games as the official home underdog. Now, the Yankees on the other side are 16th in striking out on the road, 23rd in runs allowed when traveling. They're also 26th in hits allowed in that same category. The Yankees are 10-5 to the over in their last 15 when traveling. They're also 32-12 to the over in their last Actually, they're just 32-12 to the over on the road overall for the year. Now, Minnesota on the other side, 3-1 to the over, taking on the Yankees. Give me the Twins plus $1.10 in the over, 10 runs in that matchup there. A lot of underdogs here today. Could be feast or famine for me. We'll see. Next matchup I have for you, it is going to be Reds. Brewers, 8-10 Milwaukee. The Brewers are minus 135, totals 9.5. Not a whole lot of movement on the money line. We did see movement upward on the total a little bit. Milwaukee's minus 135, total open 9, up to 9.5. 71% are leaning Brewers, 61% shaded toward the over. Right now, Cincinnati's plus $1.25 on the money line. The Brewers are plus 135 on the run line. We have Tanner Roark for the Reds, Zach Davies for the Brewers. Davies is 8-2 with a 2.79 ERA for Milwaukee. Meanwhile, Tanner Roark for the other side for the Reds, 5-6 record, 1.37 WHIP. Cincinnati is last in the NL Central at just 45-53 overall for the year, 8 games under 500. They're also 8 games back in the NL Central. Now, Cincinnati's won just 20 out of 49 ball games at the Great American Ballpark. They're also second to last in road hits. Milwaukee on the other side, 5th in home offensive walks, 3rd in striking batters out at home. The Brewers have won 5 out of their last 7. They're also just 2 games back of first place in the NL Central. Now, total-wise, Milwaukee's 15-5 to the under. When Davies makes his start, he's also 10-2 to the under, taking on teams allowing 3.9 to 4.2 runs per contest. Now, the Reds on the other side are 12-7 to the under. When Tanner Roark makes the start, they're also 9-5 to the under, taking on Milwaukee. So with all that in mind, I'm going to lean Milwaukee Brewers minus 135 and the under 9.5 runs in that ball game there. All right, next matchup. It is going to